A known face to the world, Aleeza Ben Shalom, is the host and talent behind Jewish Matchmaking. Thank you so much for taking time in your lovely home to talk about the program.
Thank you. I'm very happy to have you here.
Aleeza, one of the oldest traditions in the history of mankind, putting people together, and yet it's modernized through Netflix. Tell me how that came about.
So Indian Matchmaking came out and it was a hit show, and the production company went back to Netflix and said, "This is great, we love it." And Netflix said, "Great, let's do it again." And they said, "Good, let's also do Jewish matchmaking." And they said, "Great, go find us a Jewish matchmaker." And that's how it got started.
Was it a long process to find you?
It took several months to do all of the filtering and for people to do all of the interviews, and then for them to make the final decision. It took, more than 6 months.
Aleeza, I think 100 years ago, no one would have asked a question about fertility, saving your eggs. I mean, you have questions that one wouldn't have even imagined.
Right.
So where do you even begin to start?
So this is difficult because it's an ever-evolving process of putting people together and then living within the modern world, and how we connect those two things has to be done very delicately and very gently and with a lot of tact. And it's a difficult process. It's also, for me as a matchmaker, you constantly have to know what is the next thing that developed, what's the next technology, what's available, what are people talking about, what are people into in terms of dating, relationships, marriage, and even fertility.
What is so different from 1,000 years ago? Matchmaking probably hasn't really changed when you get down to the essence of man and woman coming together.
From 1,000 years ago, the technology and being able to meet somebody from across the world at any day, at any hour, from any location was never done. You met people in your community, your neighborhood. You went 2 neighborhoods out. Nobody really went outside of their country necessarily, but because of technology, we have traveled so much further from our living room than we ever have before. So the main difference is that we have the ability to reach people from all over at any time, and there becomes a little bit of an abundance mindset. And at the same time, if you can't find anybody, it's the most depressing thing in the whole world, because literally the whole world is open to you and there's nobody for you. So where we used to think that there's possibilities, people look out there and they're going, "No, there's nobody. I've searched."
You have been around the world, really, in a way. You know, you're going to the United States, you're in Israel, you've flown to Florida. People you've been speaking to on your show who are the guests of your show or your clients in Los Angeles. Is there a place that's better for the match?
Ooh, short answer is no, but maybe. So no, meaning whoever you are, wherever you are, you have the ability to meet your person now. And they might be local or they might be long distance, but you don't have to go anywhere very special to meet somebody. There are communities where there are greater quantities of Jewish people, so there are more options, which I'm not saying it's better, but it could be, right? So Israel's fantastic, New York, LA, Miami, London, Toronto, any of the major cities around the world, or any major community that really has a strong Jewish community would be a great place to go. But wherever you are, if you like it, you should stay.
You Zoom a lot, but how much travel have you done?
So I've been traveling around the world, and I'm currently on a world tour. And besides America and Canada, we're hitting South America, Chile, Argentina, Australia, potentially Singapore, and South Africa we're talking to as well. So I'm literally going to be when I say world tour, I'm literally going from Israel to Australia and then around the world the other way, and doing what I call a live matchmaking show and bringing matchmaking to different communities.
How many languages is the program currently in?
What I'm doing?
No, the Netflix's show.
Oh, Netflix. Netflix is in, I think, 32 different languages, plus subtitles, which, it's in, over 100 and something countries, and over 32 languages.
What alerted you to the importance of this industry, of saying matchmaking is my life? I need to make a change for people.
It's so interesting because nobody grows up and goes, "Oh, I want to be a matchmaker when I grow up, and I'm going to go study that," because there's nowhere to go to study that. So for me, I saw my family, my parents, my grandparents having beautiful, healthy relationships. And I saw that as the glue, not just to our family, but to being a happy, healthy person in the world. And when I pulled all that together, I found my husband, I got married, I started building my own family, and then I started working as a matchmaker online. And I said, oh, that's so interesting. It was a volunteer, it wasn't even working, it was a volunteer position. And I thought, this is fascinating. This is the greatest way to have the largest effect on the world. Because to me, world peace and solving all the world problems really begins at home. And when we focus on building our homes with people in a happy, healthy way that empowers us to be our best selves, we have the greatest effect on our world and the world.
Aleeza, it's not surprising that a picture of a groom and, right, a wife and a husband coming together under the chuppah, under the canopy where they're going to be married, adorns your table where you greet probably each week the Sabbath. What is this significant of for you?
So this painting my mom got for us, and she knew that I was into, even before this was much earlier on, before I got into where I am now. She knew I was very into matchmaking, and she bought this for us and said, like, this should be in your home. That there should be a symbolic painting that's here, and we have many singles at our table during the week, during Shabbat.
How do you field your clients? It must be very difficult because everybody wants to probably be on the program.
Yes, I'm still getting calls. Please, can I come on season 2? I said, look, we just dropped season 1. We're waiting to hear, if there's going to be a season 2. But if you want to find love, don't wait for a show. It's so much easier to do that when you're not in front of a camera. We can do it in front of a camera also, but we have so many more options and resources when we're not actually in front of a camera. So we do have thousands of people that are reaching out to us to do matchmaking, coaching, take some of our courses, do some learning, and really empower them to have all the tools and the skills that they need to meet the right person.
Popping the question. Everybody's asking, well, when is somebody going to get married on the program? And obviously it ended with that question mark of where's it going next? What is the next step?
So I could tell you now, because we're far enough out from the launch date, that none of the couples got engaged from the program to each other. But I did continue working with people. Shia got engaged to Huvi, who he found and met through Matchmaker Network, and I worked with him and her through the process, and they're a beautiful couple. There's a couple that's not yet out that they're engaged, but it is a match that I made after having met somebody and set them up with somebody else. And we're not saying anything, but that's up and coming. And I just heard about another engagement that will be announced soon. So you got to follow me, and I'm gonna share all the details as soon as everything's public.
Aleeza, you're beaming over that. Is that what gives you the greatest joy?
The greatest joy, look, a couple finding each other is a miracle. It's really difficult in a world with so many different people to find somebody. So it is the greatest joy to see that happen, but there's also a great joy in helping people through the process. And even if they haven't found that person yet, I know they will, but seeing somebody go from being low to being happy, healthy, high, able to go through the dating process a little bit more gracefully, that's also a huge win for me, that somebody feels hopeful, that they see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Is it harder for men or women?
Good question. Right. So I'm a woman. I can't tell you from a man's perspective. I can tell you that in different years, there's been this perception that it's easier for one gender or the other, and it's kind of switched over time. There's a perception right now from the world that it's easier for a man to find somebody and to make this happen. I will tell you, for anybody to make a decision, to find your person, to choose to get engaged, to choose to get married is extremely difficult. It's just, to me, it's the hardest thing that somebody's going to do. You can get a job, you can move countries, you can learn a new language. Oh, find a person, they love you and you love them back. Sure, good luck. It's not the easiest thing. It's extremely challenging, and I think that women are actually more equipped to build relationships. Men have more of a longevity and like stick-to-itiveness in staying in relationships, and I don't know, it's a toss-up for me.
Set in your ways. Older couples, very difficult sometimes that you'll see them wanting to bend. So how do you deal with that? And you do talk about that on the program with some people.
Yes, couples of any age have a challenge, but the older we get, the more life experience we have, and the more challenges that we've already overcome, and the more set we've already become in our ways. So bringing two people together becomes a greater challenge, and I'm always challenging people to make space in their world. So literally, if they had a bookshelf, I'd tell them, take out these 10 books, move them, leave that blank. Somebody else is going to come in, they're going to put their books there, they're going to take up your space. So I'm trying to physically and metaphorically teach people to make space in their lives for the other person.
How well is that working?
A lot of people are very receptive to me. So in their own lives with other people, I don't know. But when they work with me, I get a lot of positive responses from people who say, "Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. Let me try this." And for me, it's like clothing. We try it on for size, and either it works or it doesn't, and then we try something else. So if moving your books on your shelf didn't work for you, I'd tell you to put your toothbrush on the other side, open and clear a drawer, go into your cabinet and move all your spices and make space. Just leave some empty spaces, and internally leave a space inside that's not full, so that somebody can come in and enrich and fulfill your life.
As a news agency, we're used to polling, but often polling is about what sometimes you think you're wanting to get out and be heard, not always answering the questions of the poll. So when you're coming and trying to reach out to people to answer questions, are they answering the questions because they want to be heard to be on the show? Are they answering questions because, yes, they know they're looking for a match? What's happening in this equation? And are they actually on the program just trying to be the glamorous self that they are because they're on TV?
It's a really good question. For me, I genuinely showed up, and I think that that helped people to show up as themselves. I think that you see people after the show, who they are and what they're doing in the world, you'll know who came for fame and who came for a match. I would say that a majority of the people really came to find their person, and they were genuinely curious about the process. Many people were not religious, and so this wasn't a normal thing for them. And Faye and Shia, who were the couple that went out that were religious, they in the religious circles, it was very hard for us to find people that were willing to take a risk and to do television. People don't even own televisions. We don't have a television in our home, and you're asking them to come be on this thing that they don't even own. So it was a little bit of a challenge. I think that when I was in person with people, almost all of them were genuine, and a few times I felt like, you telling me the truth, or you're just saying that just to say that? But most of the time, I actually felt that people were really genuine.
You were really working with, Jews from all over the world. You're talking to people who are very different. Some religious, some might have a parent that was Jewish, not Jewish. It's kind of complex.
Yes.
So how do you really dive through this? Give me some background so people are curious of what does Aleeza really do when she's preparing to talk to these people, and how are these people really chosen?
So this for me is very normal, because in my business, in my life, I work with Jewish singles of all ages and all stages and all backgrounds. 18, and my oldest client was 89. Like you said, one parent's Jewish, the other one might not be, two very religious, and completely living in a very different world. So for me, the types of people that I was meeting, that was very normal. All of those people were typical clients that I might have, or that might already exist in my database. And the process for me was a very organic, normal process. Like I didn't I personally grew up secular, and I became observant in my 20s, right? So I know the secular world, and I also know the religious world. So for me, it's very easy to relate to both, which is probably why I have clients in all different places. Also, just in terms of locations, my business has always been international. So I used to live in Philadelphia, and we moved to Israel, and it didn't matter, because I just switched my working hours until 2 o'clock in the morning now, so I can still reach the East Coast and West Coast. And I didn't. I just had people from all over. It just was very normal to me to be working with people like this.
But how did this cast sign up?
So there was a casting call for Jewish singles across the world, and they had people apply, and we had hundreds of applications come in, and then everything got filtered down, and then there's like the top 50, and then there's the top 10 and the top 30. And so we went through all of those, and Netflix, the production company, and I myself had input on who we would want to see on the show. And for me, it was, who do I want to work with? Who do I think I could help?
Who's your audience? Looking at the market, Netflix is a secular market.
Yes.
Who's really watching?
So I think the secular marketplace is really the marketplace. And I would say also not necessarily the Jewish marketplace, because we're such a small population. If we're going for that target market, we're not hitting so many people. So I really think that non-Jewish people around the world who are curious and want to take a deep dive into Jewish matchmaking go, ooh, that's fascinating. Let me learn a little bit more about these people, this culture, what they do, and this ancient art of matchmaking.
What kind of response are you getting?
We have gotten a tremendously positive response. I was prepped to like hear anything, because as Jews we receive a lot of anti-Semitism and a lot of challenge as we face the world. I was prepped to expect things like death threats and all sorts of crazy things. I told my husband, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but you have to be the guardian of our family and our home. And we have had an outpouring, I would say, of love and blessings. And people are so warm and so receptive. They love the show. They love the people. They love, for me, that I'm non-judgmental. I love and accept everybody that I meet, and I work really hard to find them what they're looking for. They're fascinated by it. They think it's fun. They think it's playful. It's been a tremendous reception for us.
You as a person make the show, in a way. I think it's not just your laugh that I think everyone's come to know, and your smile, it's your persona. And how has that changed you?
What's interesting is that I am me. I was always me, and I have a healthy sense of self-esteem. I love myself. I appreciate who I am. I've worked hard to become who I am, and it's so nice when you're doing what you love, and then other people get to see that and go, "Wow, that's also great." Like we're so supportive of that. So it's everything that I've worked so hard to do, and then to get the support from lots or millions of other people and say, "Wow, we really love that." It's very satisfying. It's like everything that I always wanted to do, I'm doing, and other people go, "Yeah, you're good at that. You should like stick with it. Don't change."
You have a family, 5 children, a husband, there's a lot of travel. How have they adapted?
They have been slowly getting used to the system. I've been away for 2 or 3 weeks or no more than a month at a time. The month was really hard. We kind of put boundaries around the travel and around when I am home, and we're working really hard to integrate family life with work life. When I come home, I'm still also backed up with clients and meetings, and so it's been a real transition for us, because my husband went from being the one working full time and me being at home, and then slowly over the years we went to 50-50, and now we totally switched and he's at home and I'm out. I think that it's been an adjustment, but we're a very adaptable family, and we do things like sometimes I'll one-on-one take the kids, and we'll go out to dinner. We'll go get them whatever the school uniforms, whatever they need. And I think that we've adapted gracefully, and I would say in a large part to my husband, who has been a solid foundation for us at home and making sure that everything is running smoothly.
The conception of families in general was that the husband was the breadwinner, the wife was the homemaker. And boy, has that changed. It's 2023, and you barely can make a living if you don't have both spouses working, and women are vying for top jobs. So how does that change when you're looking for the partner in life and fitting that all in? What are the complexities that you've seen evolve over the years that you're doing this?
We are talking with, or I'm talking with my clients about, are you looking for a traditional family or a partnership model? Okay, traditional is meaning that the wife is staying home and the husband's going to work, or a partnership model. We're both working out and we're both working in, and whether it's 50-50, 60-40, who knows what, we split all of the chores, all of the jobs, and the financial responsibilities. So for me, professionally, we're working very hard to understand what does somebody want. And if you're looking for that traditional model, don't go looking for a partner who still wants to stay in the workforce if you want them at home, or vice versa. So it's been a bit of a discussion, and sometimes it is a little bit of a toss-up. Like, well, no, I don't really want to be the one to be at home because it's not my thing. She should be at home, but no, she also has to work. We're living in these changing times. It is one of the big topics that we talk about.
Mystery in your history. And you've heard it. These are your Aleeziasms. They're amazing. They're fun. Where did that come from?
I take all of the things that I regularly do with my clients and I turn them into my Aleeza-isms so that they're memorable, because I get more out of people when they know what I'm talking about. And it's almost like my own language. And when everybody speaks my language, we can have a great conversation. We can get into the root of what's going on. So mystery in your history is this concept of looking back, either who have I dated or who have I maybe said no to that I should have dated, or any combination of anybody that's from my past that exists before today. Can I bring that old relationship and make it new? And I would say 35% of the people that I work with are able to do that, and they end up marrying somebody that they already knew.
Finding your soulmate is the essence of everything you're doing.
Yes.
How many matches have you made? How many shidduchim, as they say, have you made?
I've helped over 200 people to get married, and I am constantly receiving emails and texts and messages from other people. Oh, I listened to your podcast and I took your advice. I didn't work with you, but I mean, I kind of did, because you were in my ear the whole time, and I followed your date 'em till you hate 'em. I, when in doubt, go out. I was doing all the things that you told me to do, and it worked.
Do
Thank
you
you.
go to all those weddings?
Oh, not all of them. I wish. In spirit and through my heart, I'm there, but not physically.
Let's look at the professional career, the books, and what you're doing, and these dating Zooms can't do it all. So, looking ahead, where is Aleeza heading?
So, looking ahead, I really do want to help as much of the world as possible, and Jewish or non-Jewish, it doesn't matter. I like that the concepts that I have are made for the world. In terms of matchmaking, if I'm going to set two people up, my matchmaking network is a Jewish base. That's where I have my foothold. But in terms of the wisdom that I want to share of how to have a happy, healthy relationship, it is through books, it is through more programs, it is through courses. We have a course that's coming up soon that's called 40 Days of Connection, and it's all about connecting with yourself and this future partner, the one that you haven't met yet, but how to connect that, how to be magnetic, bring that energy so that person is drawn to you. So my long-term goal is to build a high enough awareness that we have enough people choosing to find a partner and live a beautiful life with that partner, and that they have all the tools that they need.
2 books out, Virtual Dating and Get Real, Get Married. Why is this so helpful?
In these books, there are action plans. So when somebody's going through it, you read something, yeah, it's a nice concept, but this gives you an actual action plan. I want you to try this. And by doing this, you are going to develop and grow and become who you need to be to take the next steps to find the right one.
Too many people look at the love aspect and not the like aspect. And why is that?
That's a really good point. Love is this overarching feeling that we want to have and we need. It is within us. As when we come in the world as babies, if we don't receive love, not just like love, we start to physically rock and soothe ourselves. It is within us physiologically that we need to be loved and we need to give love. And so we need that. But people forget that I have to live with you, and living with you means I need to like you.
Back to your toothbrush.
Right. So I need to like you. I need to be connected to you. And even if I love you, but I don't like you today, like, okay, so I'll make it work tomorrow, but there has to be enough like to make it work, because we have to live our lives together. And it's not easy to do when I don't really like you.
Are people coming, like other matchmakers, coming to you who are not Jewish, saying, I have these same problems in my community, in the Arab community, in the Christian community, and what advice do you have?
Yes. So I think that relationships are universal. I think that the way that we interact is the same. What our faith-based preferences are, that's where the nuance is, but we are all facing the same things. There's groups online that I'm a part of with matchmakers, and when we bring up topics, everybody's, oh yeah, me too, me too. We're all on the same page. We're having the same challenges, and I think it's fascinating because, like, oh, is this only a Jewish problem? No, this is everybody's problem. We can't find the one. There's a whole world of people, and now I have access to them more than I ever did. And why is it that less people get married, and at an older age, not a younger age? Why is everything backwards? We have more options. You think more options equals more matches, but it's not true.
How did you meet your own husband?
We met at a Jewish singles retreat. where we met, but we didn't start dating. We
Sounds
both,
like my story.
Yeah.
In a way. In a way.
we left dating
Right.
other people.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out with those people, and then we started dating after that.
Can you meet somebody on a first date and know they're the one?
Some people can, not many. Maybe about 10 to 15% of people might know that, but a majority of people cannot.
Aleeza Ben Shalom, what fun. I wish you much success and definitely want to know if Netflix 2 is coming out.
We're hanging on. I want to know also.
Thank you.
Thank you.